Good day and welcome to the best session, Reinventing the Role of HR. My name is Janneke Roelofs and I work at Top Employers Institute and I will be hosting this session. First of all, I would like to congratulate your organization and all relevant key stakeholders in achieving the Top Employers certification for 2021. You can be very proud of this achievement. In this best practice session, Executive VP and CHRO Milind Lakkad will discuss the future of HR at Tata Consultancy Services. As a result of the global health crisis, HR professionals are tasked with new challenges in 2021 and beyond. He will share some key insights and practical takeaways on how his organization takes on those challenges. He does that with a continuous focus on the age of HR and while reinventing the future of work. There will be room to ask questions, which we will cover after the presentation. You can put your questions in the chat. Now, let's welcome our speaker, Milind Lakkad. CHRO Milind focuses on further strengthen a high-performance culture at Tata Consultancy Services. He's passionate about building a purpose-driven learning organization that transcends geographic barriers and embraces practices that enables the future of work. The well-being of 450,000 plus employees are at the center of the people strategy that is driven by Milind. He has a strong belief in the motto that a happy workplace encourages employees to follow the passion, to insist on lifelong learning, thrive together, and stay hungry.
Thank you, Janet. Thanks for the opportunity. It is wonderful connecting with all of you virtually. I'm given 10 minutes. I'm going to very briefly cover how we have reimagined the entire HR value chain in the context of this pandemic. And then what is it for us from a future or a new normal standpoint. Uh, we are a large organization and people are the primary assets for us. We are naturally a gender diverse company and a young company. We strongly believe our core values are the reason for our success. Last year has been an extraordinary year for all of us due to the pandemic. 98% of our workforce is working in what we call secured borderless workplaces mode. We have provided a boundaryless secured environment for all our people in the comfort of their homes. Employee uh, employee health and well-being has always been and even more so during the pandemic, the topmost priority for TCS. All our business decisions are made keeping this top priority in mind in the last 12 months. Employer associate health and well-being is paramount for us. Taking care of their physical and mental health, providing a one TCH channel for social connect, providing isolation centers for quarantining and treatment, building relationships with the hospitals in various cities so that our associates are not turned down the required medical help are some of the key things which we have done in addition to providing financial help and providing other support at the time of their need. As people are no longer working in a controlled environment anymore. We need to completely reimagine the engagement model for the organization with our associates. We have actually spent a good amount of time reimagining that, and we called it engagement with purpose. Our HR and business leaders connected with the associates, or connecting with the associate with a specific purpose, whether it is lifelong learning, building my career, living my values, collaboration, serve my community, health and well-being, and for the new associates, know my TCS. Every associate, every HR leader, and every business leader is connecting with people, keeping in mind the fact that they are no longer working in a constrained environment. It is important that we connect with the people with a specific purpose, and this is something which we measure on an ongoing basis in terms of how we are doing on each of these elements of this engagement. This has been working very well especially in the context of the fact that the people are not together in one single team environment in a room or in an office environment. This has worked very well for us, so I thought I would share this with you. We also have reimagined the overall entire talent acquisition and onboarding process. In means we are a company who normally hire about 70,000 people in a year. We have a TCS national qualifier test. This entire national qualifier test, for getting into an organization like TCS is a industry pioneer. This year, because of the pandemic, 235,000 people, candidates, appeared in this test from the comfort of their homes. We had, the solution to this scale is the first of its kind. 130,000 video interviews, from the comfort, which we have done today, which basically included both trainees and lateral hiring. I think overall, engaging with 440,000 connects with the candidates who are going to join us. Before they even joined, we connected with them on an ongoing basis in a virtual environment, and we actually got them engaged in learning. We got them engaged in participating in various virtual hackathons. They participated in one certification or the other. Every week. Means I have numbers where we kind of have situations where 1,500 plus associates participating in one certification or the other every week. And our industry pioneer, again, academic enterprise program has been actually be the key for driving our talent ecosystem across the globe. And this program, in spite of the pandemic, actually worked very well through virtual means. Talent development is one of the top 3 strategies for TCS. Means this is not an HR strategy. This is organizational top 3 strategies for TCS. 97 learning hours per associate. The kind of learning culture which we have created in the organization over the years, and it has gone actually, significantly accelerated over during the pandemic. We also have reimagined talent development models, including linking learning with career growth, virtual hackathons, nurturing the experts who have a deep contextual knowledge of our customers. And obviously, in an environment today where the delivery environment continues to be, more and more agile in an agile model, we have trained 440,000 plus people, as an agile trained workforce. So what's ahead for us? Basically, what does it mean going forward? Is it going to be, what is the new normal, on how we are defining the new normal? So I talked about secured borderless workspaces that would continue. 25 by 25, let me just take a minute to explain. Actually, this is the model which is our target operating model, which will be our target operating model going forward. What it means is 25% of a workforce need to be in the office at any given point in time. Or and an employee need to be spend only 25% of his or her time to be fully productive. In at he has to be in the office for 25% of the time for him or her to be fully productive. So 25 by 25, I will reiterate. 25% of our workforce need to be in the office at any given point in time, and an employee need to be spent 25% of his or her time in the office to be fully productive. We are currently working on this policy framework, and that framework is going to be put on place, in about next 3 months' time. I think there are, we all learned that there are obviously a few positives which came out of this pandemic. Customers and our own workforce are now, breaking these location barriers when it comes to, getting the right talent. They want the best talent available irrespective of the location. Talent fungibility across cities within a country or across countries is going to be a huge strategic value add for the organization going forward, giving birth to talent clouds. So, secured borderless workspaces, a 25 by 25 model, and which is supported by world-class talent clouds where experts are available across the globe for a project, which needs them the most. And how do we create a policy framework around it? How do we basically ensure that we have the customer dimension, the people dimension, the organizational dimension all covered as part of these policies? This is currently, as I speak, it is in works, and it will be actually, this is something which is our destination. This is how we will operate going forward. This is how the new normal for TCS. Well, very briefly, we did all these things over the last 12 months, and and then when I look into Gartner trends, and a lot of these trends is what we are doing already. When it comes to more employees working remotely, whether it is increased use of employee data, we actually have all our competency data availability of all associates is now the core driver for all our HR decision making. Overall, if you look at all these trends, a lot of it we are already doing, and we obviously we know that this is how the industry is progressing. We need to be the trendsetter in the industry, like we have always been, and we continue to do it that way. With that, I conclude my presentation. The future is here. Thank you.
Thank you, Milind, for that wonderful presentation. I was just wondering, I had a question for you.
Yes.
If you look at the current health crisis and post-COVID-19, this will not be a typical recovery, right? Because if we look at COVID-19, it will unlikely end suddenly. For example, if we see now due to the uncertain prospects of timing of the vaccine, for example. So does Tata Consultancy Service also plan for or take into consideration multiple scenarios and time horizons when they look at the future of work?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people ask me, when are people coming back to work for you? I think my answer to them is, like I said in the presentation, our people's health and well-being is our topmost priority, and that will always be like that. All our decisions which we make, and we look at it every day, all our we have governance levels at different levels in the organizations. I think the point is, whether we do, continue to with SBWS more, and 97+% of the workforce is currently working from their homes, and delivering value to the customers. Customers are happy. Customers are actually seeing a similar, if not better, level of productivity also from the people. So that we are able to manage that with that current model. how do we bring our people in, and what we are. I'm not putting any targets for our organization. It completely depends on geographies, location, the regulations within the geography, within the city of that country. All of that is driving some of this decision making, and will be obviously be completely aligned with that. But more importantly, our people's health and well-being is the umbrella guiding principle for us for making all business decisions. And what I talked about, 25 by 25, SBWS, or talent clouds, all of it is applicable, and can be, brought up, can be scaled up or scaled down in the way you want it, depending on the situation or the context of the pandemic.
Clear. Thank you, Milind. If you would look and if you would say, right, if the future is now, because I see that also when I look at your presentation, what would be your key points to say to our audience today, taking that in consideration? What will be the focus when you take a look at preparing for the future, also looking at the pandemic, everything that happens?
Yeah, I think I covered in a way in the presentation, but let me just reiterate that. Now, I think first is, you should know that our people, they are used to coming to offices and worked in an environment, and we take certain things for granted. We cannot take those things for granted anymore. We need to engage with people a lot more than what we have ever been, in this environment. So that is the first change we all need to bring in. Talent development, no, training our first line managers, to ensure that they don't get into the mode of out of sight, out of mind situation, and having a proper framework in place for virtually connecting the managers to their people on an ongoing basis. Engagement is very critical. Talent development is equally critical, and with respect to how do we basically engage the people through various means, including talent development, is an important thing, I think. And living our values when it comes to situations where they are not working in an environment and can lead to certain things inadvertently. We have to basically be very sure about all our security policies, all our the technology which we have deployed in those work in our work environment. First of all, prevents it, and also from a people standpoint, communicate the fact that we have to live our values in this environment, and what are the things which possibly can go wrong, and what is that you should do to prevent that. No, that communication needs to happen very, very often. And the biggest strategic advantage for the organizations as a result of this pandemic is the talent cloud I talked about. The talent fungibility across different locations, and the leverage of that talent across locations by a specific customer or a project is going to be a huge value. This a lot of people where a lot of companies like us, or companies where virtual presence is can deliver the equal or more value. I think the organizations will start leveraging that a lot more and creating a significant value for the customers.
I could not agree more with you, Milind, on that. I've got a question from the audience. Talking about work efficiency. If you didn't have 1 billion people and high employment rates, how would you keep people motivated, as the job market in India is a fight for talent and vacancies? So what advice would you give to companies in developing markets?
So I think uh, the fact is, there is a huge talent available across the globe. That is a basic, underlying uh, principle, assumption, and the value which we have. We believe that great talent exists everywhere. You know, emerging markets, developed markets, everywhere. And how do we nurture that talent? How do we make them industry ready? And that's a responsibility for corporates like us. Basically, to make them industry ready, and be productive, and at the same time, show them a path to on what does it mean for you to be in a company like TCS or in an industry like IT. and show them the path and guide them the path along the way, through various means of the organizations, and people are the primary assets of the of companies like us, and nurturing, taking care of them, and the the fact that this kind of we nobody wanted pandemic, but this pandemic also brought the organization closer together, in many ways. So in short, if I have to just say, taking care of your people and understanding the fact that there is a talent everywhere, nurturing them along the way, show them the path, and ensuring that they move forward. And if they are not moving forward, continue to mentor them. That is what we have been doing all along, and we will continue to do that.
Thank you, Milan. It's all about encouragement, right? That's, I think, the key message. If I hear you. So another question from the audience. So how do you manage work-life balance during these times that we are in? So all staff are working longer hours than before COVID. So how do you manage that work-life balance?
Yeah, I think this question came up, in a very different context. Young mother taking care of a 2-year-old, not able to differentiate between work and home, or situation where a family, living in a small house, and they are not able to manage it very well, considering all the physical constraints. And so those kind of challenges, they definitely come in, and across the board, across all countries, not just a specific country I'm talking about. And the situations. So I think the what we did, we talked when we talked about engagement. We actually had a significant engagement on social connects. We actually ensured that people understand, in the context of a working mother or young mother, how do you balance that? And we had sessions around that. We actually had mental health sessions for various sets of different kinds of people or different kinds of associates who fell into a certain category, and say, how do we manage this work life balance? So bringing in external experts to manage this, to talk about mental health, to talk about work life balance, to talk, and also to have some fun. We had some contests. We have our own radio channel. uh, People coming in and coming together with common interest groups, and all the other kind of stuff which everybody is doing, including all the kitchen stuff, recipe sharing. All of that stuff is happening. So bringing them all together, not just for work but also for some fun stuff, is also one way to control that. And also, not doing too much of it, not doing an overdose of it is also important. At the same time, very contextually talking to people with respect to what they need to do, given their context, is the most important thing. Like I talked about the three examples. And that worked for us so far. It is not a thing that I can say that we have covered it completely. No, it is not like that. But we actually, believe that it's going in the right direction. We are giving we continue to get feedback. I just did a survey of about 50,000 people in the organization, and got some feedback and made some changes based on that. I think all of that is going in the right direction. But yeah, it is a challenge which we all need to address. But mostly it will happen through a contextual engagement with our people.
Thank you, Milind. It's indeed about the emphasis on that we're all in this situation. Make sure that you put a fun element into that as well. Don't forget to make fun. And I agree with you. Listen to what your employees are saying, right? Just listen to each other. And I think that's a good message sharing. One more question here. What kind of key employee assistance programs do you suggest in these difficult times?
I think, based on what we have seen, I think, hmm, first of all, you know, engagement is the best first thing which we all need to do, so that we understand what our associates need. No, that is the foundational element of all this. We need to engage. We connected with 400,000 people one on one, right? One on one, and we continue to engage one on one with them. So engagement is a foundational thing. No, then physical well-being and mental well-being, both are very important. You know, And what is that we need to do to ensure that, we, like I said, we actually have something called TCS Cares. TCS Cares is basically all about taking care of your mental health. And during this pandemic, I think that aspect of it has got magnified significantly. And we while a lot of it is, the data is obviously not available with respect to, specific situations, but the point is, a number of people talked about, how some of these sessions really help them in looking at life positively and looking at life differently. We all know and talk about counseling and all of that stuff, but in this context, in a large scale, it worked very well for us. So engagement, mental well-being, physical well-being, we have many programs, fit for life, purpose for life, talking about communities, and helping together in communities in a virtual manner. I think also, takes the mind out of your regular stress, and work towards positive. And the physical health, and for example, there are groups within TCS who together take a running target, and what happens is they come together, and that kind of solves half the problem. And then obviously running helps as well, and they are running at their own places and virtually, but they are coming together and setting a target for themselves. So physical, mental engagement, and all of these aspects are very critical, and on top of that, financial help, where we had situations where we have given, financial help to the people who are not covered through some insurance, through insurance. So we did that through our own internal programs, and also the fact that, very different situations for every person. Some people with disabilities, and how do they need their help? What can we do? Pregnant women, what how do we, help them in those situations? Even go out of the way to help them, and ensure that they are taken care of. Is actually, one size never fits all. Means obviously it has to be very contextual, but underlying principle is engagement.
Thank you, Milind. And I think that also brings us to the end of the session. So thank you so much for sharing your best practice about how Tata Consultancy Services looks at the future of the role of HR. And thank you for answering all the questions that the audience had today.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining this best practice session. And after listening to Milind, I'm very excited to see how all HR leaders will further reimagine their role when they are looking at during the recovery of COVID-19 and beyond. I think indeed the future is now. So thank you all for joining, and a lot of excitement in the rest of the program.